Destiny family, how are you doing? As people are recovering from the revelation that some of our favorite brands are actually made in China and not in other countries as some of us have thought, I am going to, in this video, tell you about how the different parties are affected and what could happen in the future. And when I talk about the different parties, I am talking about business people, particularly in the West. I'm talking about the countries, different countries, GDP as well. I'm talking about workers in China, and I'm talking about consumers worldwide. Now, before I do so, what I want to say is welcome to everyone who is tuning in. If you are new to this channel, if this is one of the first video that you are seeing, I am going to say welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? I hope that you will come back after viewing this video. If you have been a loyal supporter, I want to say thank you so much. Your support has not gone unnoticed, and I hope that we will continue doing do what keeps you coming back. Now, while others are reeling from this, as a business teacher myself, and for other business teachers who teach a certain way, we know that our students are not surprised because these are things that we teach. In that, some business teachers like myself like to use real life examples, and this is one of them. So the first thing that we are going to do first, we are going to watch one of the TikTok videos that has revealed certain things to the world that is on course to change how business is operated throughout the world. Let's watch this video. Let's watch this clip together.
Your made in Italy Gucci 80% come from Chinese factory. They just add the logo in Europe to make you pay the price of 10 times. Close your eyes. If your hammer says made in China, does it feel cheaper? No, that's no quality issue. It's luxury brand washing. Fun fact, the hand stitching your product, 42% are Chinese artisans. We don't do cheap. We do underrated luxury. Why pay 2,000 Europe for Parisian air? Same leather, same craft, just without the European fairy tale facts. Be a luxury rebel. You can shop on Chinese platforms such as Taobao, 1688, Tianmao, Jingdong. You can even go directly to Guangzhou, Yiwu, Quanzhou, Wenzhou to buy. Don't know how to buy, how to pay, or arrange delivery? Just fear me. Go next to provide free shopping guidance and shipping services.
So, I know this is no laughing matter. Everybody, this is no laughing matter. But in order for me to take you to, what this means for businesses, first what I want to do is to tell you how it all started. Now, the American government first came up by imposing tariffs or increased tariffs on quite a number of countries. China, the tariffs that was imposed on China was really, really a lot. So in turn, what China did was to impose the same tariff to goods that are made in America. Now, when this happened with China matching the tariffs that was imposed on it, what the American administration did in return is to even increase the tariff that they were originally thinking of imposing. China in return matched it. Now some people would say, okay, this is tit for tat. But I must say, all is fair in love and war. I'm sure that you have heard that before. Now, this time, the type of war that we're talking about is trade war. Okay. So when what I think has happened is that the intentions of the American administration, the government, the intention they had in imposing the tariffs has backfired. Now you may say, okay, why would the government want to get involved? First thing, you have to think about GDP that affects a country, and you have to think about taxes as well. Now let us break it down. Is it that it's just tit for tat, or is this a business strategy? Let us look at it. So instead of going to the table and negotiate, what China did in turn was to come up, well, what I would have seen is that in turn, a lot of these revelations came up. So this is just one of the videos that came to light on TikTok. And of course, there are many other videos. And this is just telling you that perhaps it's time for me to open a TikTok account. So I'm going to open a TikTok account so that these revelations don't miss me. Okay, so when these videos were released, a lot of people, consumers, were alarmed in that, of course, they did not know that this is what was happening. But as business people, I would say as business teachers, and because we have to teach children certain things, your students, your daughters, your sons, a certain way, we have to tell them that in business, there are certain things that are mandatory. So for example, on the label, on everything, has to somewhere tells where the item was made. So if you inspect your goods properly, right, and carefully, then you would have been aware that a lot of these products are actually made either in China. India is another country that's doing well. Taiwan, Japan, Cambodia is doing really well with this as well. Now, you are probably wondering, okay, what China did was really deceptive. What China did was letting down the companies that were trading. And I'm talking about the designer companies that were having their products made in China. Because in China, what happens is that you get what you pay for, right? So it doesn't mean that these brands are inferior. It doesn't mean that they are selling you inferior goods for a lot of money. What it means is that the materials that are used in particular factories and by certain producers are of a higher quality to ensure that you get value for money. So it's not the same knockoff material that is being used, but the thing is that they are being made in the same countries, right? So with China coming up with this strategy of, people coming up with these adverts of revealing these strategies that businesses have been using, meaning the designer stores have been using a lot to actually increase their prices and to increase their profits, China is now saying, look, we can now cut out the middleman. We do not need these businesses anymore. You, the consumer, are able to get the same high quality products when you buy directly from us. Now, what does this mean? This is where production comes into play. This is where GDP comes into play as well. Every company, every business should try to cut cost. And the most important, the most common cost that is cut is in the cost of production. And this is why you see that a lot of these companies have their products made in countries where the wages that is paid is very low. Because if the wages that, if your product is made in the country where the wages are low, then of course you're going to cut production costs. And nothing is wrong with that. I've had the debate where people say, look, it is you taking advantage of the workers when you have your goods made in a different country where they are being paid very, very low wages. This is low wages in comparison to what is being paid in the West. But you have to remember as well that that does not matter. What matters is that you are paying the wages based on the ongoing wage that is being paid in the country that the product is being made. So, yes, currency for currency, dollar for dollar, it means that the West is saving money when they have the products made in countries where the wages is really low. Hence, why all these big brands, these big designer brands, have their products made in countries where the wage is really, really low. Is that deceptive? No. For me, I don't think it is deceptive. And that is because people go into business to make money, to make a profit. So if these business people see where they can make a bigger profit, that's what they have been doing. They have not been doing anything wrong. However, let us see, okay, what will happen to the different parties now that China has revealed that, look, all those designer labels, they are actually made here in China. So how will this affect China? Now, there is something that is known as GDP in every country, and that has to do with that specifically takes into consideration all the goods and services produced within that particular country. Now, does this affect China? No. As a matter of fact, China's GDP has been going up. Now, for some people, perhaps we're not aware of it. Yes, currently the USA's GDP is the highest. China is close by, meaning China is in second place. Now, what I think that the American administration was trying to do when they said, okay, increase the tariffs on China and other countries who are importing goods to America. Because remember, if the goods is made in another country and sold in America per se, that does not contribute to America's GDP. It contributes to the country in which the product was made. It contributes to that country's GDP. So even if the business who command the making of the product in China, it still doesn't matter. The products are being made in China and contributes to China's GDP. Now, and of course, remember that those businesses, they pay taxes only on the products that they are buying from China. So you could see that in a way, China gets money. It's not a lot that way, but then I'm going to tell you how China is going to benefit even more with this move that they had made. So by increasing the tariffs on the different countries, what the American administration was hoping was for that to discourage the businesses in America from having their products made in America and instead buy things that are made in America. Now, by buying things that are made in America, then of course the country's GDP would go up. And that works for all the countries in the world, individual countries. That is just how GDP works, right? It's all based on the products that are made in your own country. So that was what America was hoping would happen. But the plan has backfired. And remember that this is my opinion. I'm thinking that that's what they intended to happen. They intended to support local producers, to encourage people to buy locally so that, of course, their GDP would go up. And of course, the standard of living of people would go up as well. And nothing is wrong with that. That is what every country would want to happen. But unfortunately, this plan has backfired. Now, now that this plan has backfired, let us see what this means for businesses in the West per se. Okay, so the designer stores in the West, what this means is that with this revelation that, look, the products are actually made here in China, you can buy directly from us. What that does is that immediately people will be looking at all these designer stores with a side eye, because it means that they have been paying higher than necessary prices for products that they could have had cheaper if they had bought it from China. In other words, these businesses have been making really large profits profit by having the products made in these countries. Is anything wrong with that? No. Remember that I've said that businesses go into business to make a profit, so nothing is wrong with that. However, with this revelation, what will probably happen, more or less happen, is that companies are going to lose profits. And remember that profits for a company means taxes, it means revenue for the government. Now, if the companies are not making enough profit, then it means that the government is going to get less in taxes. And remember that the tax is what is used to take care of the public sector. So for example, it takes care of your local councillors. That is what is used to pay teachers, police, soldiers. In the UK as well, that is what is used to finance the NHS, and the list goes on and on and on. So what it means for the government in different countries is that if the businesses do not make profit and they in turn get less corporation tax from them, then it means that they will not have as much money to spend on their responsibilities, and in turn it means that the government will have to cut spending in certain areas. And you know that when you cut spending in certain areas, the consumers, the general public, it has an impact on them as well. So this is how it affects businesses. Their profits will go down. How it affects China. I think that what China has, if you ask me, I think that that is a business move. That is just a smart move. That is a strategic move by coming. Let me tell you what has been revealed. Yes, China is saying, look, the products are actually made here in China. So you can buy directly from us. We can, if you are not sure how to go about doing it, buying directly from us, our factories, we are here. We have middlemen in place who are able to give you all the information that you need. And of course, there was another thing that China has come up with as well. In that China is now saying, look, we are going to start offering visa-free visits, tourist visits for X number of hours. So it means that China is saying, look, our doors will be open. Don't mind, yes, don't matter, don't mind, don't think about we are too far or anything from that. We are now inviting you to come in, spend with us directly, stay with us. Now, by doing that, what will happen is that, yes, China's GDP is going to go up. And of course, the businesses in China, the factories as well, will make profit, because it means that the profit that they make will stay within the country. So the production is already being made there. So it means that their GDP is going up. Now, when they send these goods to the West and different countries, then they are not benefiting that much from the exorbitant prices that are being charged in the West. Because a business is business. If we agree that you're going to make this product for X dollars, pounds, then it should not matter how much I choose to sell it back to the consumer. Now, with this revelation, if you are now buying from China directly, then what you are going to have is that you're going to have businesses popping up who will be selling these designer brands as well. So when you go into China to make your purchases, then of course the money will stay in China. Even more money will stay in China as well. So that is what is going to happen. China's GDP is going to go up. Other countries will feel it, meaning just for the designer products. So what you will find is that consumers will either stop buying designer brands, or some of them will choose to take advantage of the tourists, the no visa tourist visits that China will be opening up soon. So that is what happened to that is what happened to businesses. That is what happened to the GDP of the different countries. Now, what happened to consumers? Consumers will be celebrated, but remember that consumers are also living in different countries as well. So what that means is that what happens to the economy of your country, it affects you as the consumer as well. Yes, you will now be able to, more people will be able to afford the designer products. They will be able to go to China as well directly or purchase directly from China. But what is still going to happen is that because you live in a country and if their economy should suffer as a result of that, then of course it will affect you as well. And I'm sure that some people are saying, look, what do you mean that economy will suffer? Yes, if the government is not able to raise enough taxes, because you pay corporation tax, you pay income tax as well. So if the government is not able to raise enough taxes, what will happen is that they will increase taxes in that country. And if you have to increase taxes, if you have to cut spending in vital areas as well, it is going to affect you directly or indirectly. And remember that these designer stores as well, that they have staff. So if they have to, for example, lay off staff, then it means that you're going to have higher unemployment rates in the country. And of course, all of these things together could result in inflation. And not just inflation, you're going to have inflation, but you will also, it could lead to recession as well, right? So in a nutshell, that is what is happening. And parents, I'm saying that, look, this is what your business students have been learning. As a matter of fact, this particular video, I am going to place it on 2 channels. Yes, I have a channel that I've just started that is called Elevate with Destiny. And these are the things that we talk about. You will now get the opportunity to hear exactly what happens when certain things, when there's a shift in certain business sector in the economy, what happens. Also, you will get an opportunity to have an idea of what your children have been learning in schools, in schools and colleges as well. So that channel, Elevate with Destiny, that is really for the young people who are thinking of becoming entrepreneurs, etc. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, that channel, I will not be posting a lot of videos on it. Yes, this particular video, I'll be posting it on both channels, just so that you'll have an idea of what to expect on that channel, and you will have an idea of what your students, what your daughter, what your son has been learning. Guys, I hope this was enlightening. I hope that you learn how this could play out. And this is one thing that I'll be watching. I'll be bringing certain things to your attention. And, of course, we learn together. Until I upload another video, my family, I say peace. Of course, remember to subscribe if you have not yet subscribed as yet. Peace.